Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad, this is my channel and I'm an Orange, and this week in 3D metal model news. Fascinations, nothing really going on with them this week. No new models showing up, no new models have come out. Been kind of busy the past couple of weeks, so a little bit of a break is okay. I know I certainly have plenty of models, new models to build, and haven't had time for them. Moving over to Peace Cool, we talked last week about they're coming out with 3 of the same droids that we already have sort of elsewhere, but larger versions. Last week I didn't have a release date. This week the release date's been posted as the 13th, which is here in a few days. However, I seriously doubt they'll show up that quickly. It usually takes around a week, give or take, before they start showing up in stores. So those are coming. We have a release date for that. Going over to MU, I didn't see anything new, but I did look around on AliExpress. Last week I talked about, or maybe even a couple weeks ago, about a couple of new models that MU was due to come out with. The Legends of High Guild Hall and the Legend of High Wuxian's Room. And I found both of those models on at least 3 different AliExpress stores. New York Model Store, the Superb Toy Store, and Magical Model Store. And I will of course put links to those down below if you're looking for those particular models. And along with them, some of those stores, they usually have like a tab up top of new arrivals that you can go. Some you have to go to all models and then sort by new, but different stores do different ways. But in all 3 of those, not only did I find those newer MU models have come out and you can now purchase them, I also found some new Microworld models that I did not expect. They're somewhat similar to ones I talked about before, kind of animal-ish things, more sea. We've got the Microworld whale base, so I'm guessing this is a whale shaped sort of base station. I'm not sure. Very interesting looking. It's listed as having stainless iron and brass, finish size of 13 by 13 by 11 centimeters, 6 sheets, 174 pieces, difficulty of 7 stars, and the price listed is just for the model is $36.89. And then we have the Microworld Deep Sea Shark, which listed as stainless and brass. Of course, both of these are in color. 22 by 10 by 9.4 centimeters finish size, 6 sheets, 123 pieces. This was listed difficulty of 6 stars, and for just the model it's $36.89 US. They also have options to get like a display box and tools with it. I'm not going to go into that, just the base price for it. Both of these were found, both of these Microworld models were found like right alongside the MU models that had recently come out, so I kind of grouped those together. Looking around more on AliExpress, and it was also sent to me a hint from CodeWiki that they were there, but on the MMZ store, which I don't talk a whole lot about because I honestly get confused about what the brand names are, because they tend to kind of almost cover up the brand name and just label them as MMZ models. So for the longest time I thought they were trying to put out their own, but now I just think that's the way they title and display things, is if they're own, they are their own, but they're not. But Iron Star, if you remember, I've mentioned that name a couple of times before because there were a couple of Iron Star models on Crazy Toys website and or AliExpress store. These are looking to be quite different, but very, very interesting. They've certainly caught my eye. We have the Villa of Huizhou style. I could definitely be saying that wrong. But it's a building, but it has a lot more than just architecture to it. The dimensions that I could find, 13 by 18 by 9 centimeters finish size, listed as having stainless steel. It's the only thing I saw listed, but there were no other details other than like the model number and the box size. But there's a photo in there that appears to show the parts, and based on that photo it looks like there are 3 large metal sheets, and it is in color. There's also one smaller gold sheet, which I can't help but to think that may be brass. So this model may be a mix of the stainless and brass, like we've seen many other models do. Or they may have just painted a stainless steel model sheet gold. It's hard to say. But there's also like little bags of model greenery. So for people who like make their own scenery or do like tabletop gaming where they build their own scenery, you've got, or even trains, like people who do model trains and train tracks, and you can buy the little fuzz for doing like grass and bushes. It looks like they have bags of that stuff in this model because it's got like trees and shrubbery in it, so you can actually put that together. It's got like tweezers, a brush, looks like glue, possibly some paint to help build this. You're not just building a metal model, you're building the scenery too, which is interesting and quite intimidating because I have never done anything like that. It also appears to come with batteries, like little button batteries, and a possible LED light kit. Now, it may say something about that in all the pictures that I didn't translate everything. So I'm just going by the one picture that shows all these pieces, but that's pretty interesting. That's a pretty detailed model. You're not just building the metal, but then you have to put in the greenery for the bushes and trees and all of that. And an LED light too. Wow, that's really cool looking. We also have the Ming stone tower, very similar. Its finished size is 16 by 13 by 10 centimeters. Listed again as stainless steel. I think this time it is all stainless steel. It's all colored sheets because the picture that they have in that listing looks like 3 large sheets of metal and like a smaller half-size colored sheet. And again, we've got tweezers, greenery, batteries, LED light kit, glue, some sort of maybe paint, and all this stuff that comes with it, so you can actually build the bushes and the trees that are in it. That's pretty amazing, honestly. And I kind of want to do it, but I'm kind of highly intimidated by how bad I'm going to mess that up trying to do the greenery, because I've never done that before. But I'm very excited to see if and when somebody builds that in the pictures they post and the information, or them sharing their experience about it, because that's really, it really stands out. Really stands out from the rest of the models. And that kind of covers some of the new stuff I'm seeing, as well as models that I've talked about you can now get. But there is one other thing that I haven't talked about for a while that I'm actually now seeing somewhere, and it's Peace Cool talked or announced a while back that they were going to start releasing some like metallic building blocks, like Lego-ish building blocks. And I don't talk much about it because it's a different thing. It's not something I'm personally interested in, and I wasn't sure if anybody else is. Didn't hear a lot. Did see somebody post on the Metal Earth subreddit, has anybody found it? And today I did. On crazytoys.co.uk, they now have several, if not all, of those metal building block kits on their main page. I'm not seeing them on their AliExpress store, though that may change. But crazytoys.co.uk has the Peace Cool metal Lego-like blocks for sale. And I am guessing there is some interest because the person who posted asking if anybody had seen it on the subreddit, Metal Earth subreddit, there were a couple other people that were interested too. So there they are if you're looking for them. I still haven't seen them on AliExpress. It's not to say they aren't there, I just haven't seen them. They may be listed completely differently, but I did find them on crazytoys.co.uk. Also, speaking of Reddit user Gilidry, aka George Bell, has continued to post more comparisons of the 3 previous Star Wars models that Peace Cool released before the droids. We had the Solo, Millennium Falcon, we had the Star Destroyer and the X-Wing, which were all released in Iconics. Peace Cool's released their versions. I've been curious about a size difference. I did talk about the Millennium Falcon post. Now we have, since then, I don't think I've talked about the other 2, but George Bell has posted both a comparison of the X-Wing and the Star Destroyer. The X-Wing, just a quick rundown. He's got a picture of the Metal Earth version, the Iconics version, the Peace Cool version. You can see the Peace Cool version is a lot larger. He does state the color is washed out and not as good. It's unimpressive. He kind of seemed disappointed in the color of the Peace Cool version. And there was something about a couple of parts that were in the kit but were missing on the instructions that fortunately he had done the Iconics version and remembers that and was able to put them in. So it looks like the instructions may be a little incomplete on that. However, he does in one of these posts, George does mention how Peace Cool is adding like an extra sheet in the instructions, which I think I've seen online once. Maybe it was Peace Cool, maybe it was Tenyo. Adding an extra sheet in the instructions with the parts, so you can put that to the side and still have your instructions to put everything together, which is really nice. The comparison of the Star Destroyer, he's got the Peace Cool version, the Iconics version, the ME version, and that off-brand Venator class version that I've got. I'm going to build eventually. So he's got 4 different ones, and pretty much the color is the same. It's just a little bit bigger. It didn't seem as bigger, he says, when he was building it. The other 2, he talks about how the larger size made it assembly easier. Really wasn't a difference but with the Star Destroyer because it wasn't much bigger and so many little parts. But there's more detail. I will put links in the description if you want to go read more about that. But thank you, George Bell, for posting those comparisons. I've been very curious, and he did state in one of, like, I think a comment on last week's video that definitely will be getting the droid versions and doing more comparisons. I'd like to get the droid versions myself, but we'll see. And also, CodeWookie on his website, MetalEarthBuilder.com, has done a mock-up. He's, of course, made a post about the upcoming droid models from Peace Cool and has done like a mock-up size comparison of what the Peace Cool models are going to be compared to the Metal Earth or Iconics versions. I didn't look too much into detail. The K2SO and R2D2, no, K2SO and C3PO, you can definitely see a much larger. The R2D2 doesn't look much larger than the Iconics. I don't have the Iconics version yet. I just have the silver version from way back when Metal Earth only had like 4 or 8 Star Wars models in total. And it's definitely a lot bigger than that. But I'll link in the description below so you can check that out as well. Now, last week's topic, I basically just said, you know, are there any models that you'd like to see built? Because I was going to share a list of the models with Metal Earth, because they're always curious to know what people are into, and if there's enough of a request, they might do it. Got quite a few responses of a lot of different models, because I know there's a lot of people out there who want a lot of things, including me. But here's the responses that I got. Chris Thorpe, hi Brad, would love to see some Evangelion models, even if it was similar to the Star Wars line where they were just released the heads as models. Zoids, just watched a plastic kit build and 3D metal model version. Could be very interesting. Formula 1 cars would look pretty cool. And as always, Dinobots. Dinobots, that's pretty cool. That got my attention. Transformers fan, Dinobots would be really interesting. It would kind of fit with this insect, kind of robotic insect line that they have. Just a thought there. The Formula 1 cars, there are other model manufacturers that make them, so that would be pretty interesting. The Evangelion I've heard of, I had to actually look up. And Zoids I've heard of, I'd have to go look that up as well. But interesting suggestions. AS comments, Brad, fantastic update. I recently started building the Delorean after about a year's hiatus from Metal Earth. My model that I would love to see would be the V8 Interceptor from Mad Max. If Metal Earth is listening, I promise to buy multiple copies. So there you have it. You at least got a multiple sale right there if you come out with the V8 Interceptor from Mad Max. Another movie that I need to watch. I've definitely heard of that. I just honestly haven't seen it. Dr. Tim Schurig, I don't like the fact, and I'm including this one because it brings up a point that's been brought up before. It's not so much a suggestion. I don't like the fact that there are Disney exclusives. They are hardly available in Germany. I have only found them on eBay, but too expensive. Still waiting for my Luke speeder. And you're not the only one that's voiced that frustration. Even here in the US, it's obviously not going to be as difficult for me to get it as it is out of the country. And I'm not going to have to pay those shipping prices. But it's still, even for me, difficult to get those models because I live nowhere near any Disney anything. There's just no Disney around me. I found out about like a Disney discount stores recently, and I looked the nearest one to me, and it's the next state over. There's no one, or the other side of this state. There's just nowhere near me that I have to get it. So I'd have to ask friends. I'd have to travel several states away to a Disney park, which I'm absolutely not doing right now. To get stuff on eBay is getting a little bit easier on some of the older stuff, but there's still a markup. It is frustrating. It's very frustrating. It's really cool that these models are available, but it's absolutely frustrating even in the US to get these models when you don't ever go to Disney World or Disneyland. You don't live anywhere near it. And you're not the only one that's voiced frustrations from that for being outside of the US, and it's next to impossible to get this stuff. And I wish I could do something. If I could, I would go buy everything off of the shelves and just make things available to people that, you know, just sell them with little to no markup, cheap price, cheap as I could go, plus shipping, just to be able to get these out to the people that want to build them, because it really does stink, and I recognize that. And wanted to just include that because I know they're not the only one. Warren Phillips, I would like to see an F-14 Tomcat and F-4 Phantom. These are two legendary aircrafts that are surprisingly missing. Maybe we will get them with the release of the new Top Gun movie. Maybe R5 or some of the other B-list droids. Maybe more models of movie landmarks. As James S. mentioned, the Overlook, the Bates Motel, or the Horror House, or even TV vehicles like the A-Team van, the Sanford and Son truck or kit from Knight Rider would sell good. That's really interesting. I didn't read all of that when I was copying it, but the Bates Motel, Horror House, that's pretty cool. The A-Team van, sounds like that would be a really interesting build. The Sanford and Son truck, I mean, we've got some classic Fords. I don't remember what model the truck was, but that would be a really interesting model build and paint job. Kit from Knight Rider, yeah, sure, why not? That's pretty cool. Some really neat suggestions right there. And as far as the plane stuff is concerned, you'd think the plane stuff seems to sell, and they keep coming out with plane stuff, so hopefully some of those, if not all of those, will be included eventually, soon, maybe. Thank you for the suggestions. I'm definitely going to have to pass this on. Logan Springer, I want Metal Earth to make an Iconics Iron Man that is showing his real face and holding a mini Infinity Gauntlet. I think that would be pretty cool and would definitely save up my money for it. It's a pretty awesome suggestion right there. An Iconics version of Iron Man. Imagine how much detail they'd cram into that, how much more challenging that would be to build. But that would be pretty cool. James Stalker, a few suggestions for some models. How about a series of ships or any vehicles and equipment from the Alien movies franchise? The USCSS Nostromo, did I even say that right? The Prometheus, the USCSS Patna, the USM Arija? Really bad today. Covenant drop ships. Also the Stanley Hotel, Eagle 5, the Eagle 5, Spaceballs 1, Castle Stalker. I just love the castle because it's a family name. It was also in Monty Python. Keep up the great work in videos, man. I apologize for stumbling through that. I'm somewhat familiar with the Aliens movie franchise. I think I've watched it watched most of them years ago. But that, fantastic suggestions there. Eagle 5, Spaceballs 1, that's pretty interesting. Stanley Hotel, I read those out of order. I should have read them the other way around, so the other comment made sense when they were referring to this comment. But yeah, a lot of really neat suggestions right there. A lot of potential. I'm sure if we put together all the suggestions I've heard with all the ones that are put on the Metal Earth subreddit, we'd have a pretty huge list. Maybe I should put up a list that people could also like or dislike, the ones that they would want, so that we could see how many people are actually interested in these different ones. There was a thought that just came to my head. So that pretty much wraps that up. And for a topic for this week, I've had several suggestions over the past few months to do like an updated video of my collection. And it's not that I haven't heard you. Time is even more limited now than it was before, and I know I've made this comment several times in the past few videos. Yeah, life is a lot more of a juggle now that I'm back to work. Work is going good. You know, I like the job. I'm happy to be back at work and earning for myself again, to be back on my feet, losing a little bit of weight. This is good. It is a lot more challenging to find the time to do the builds, edit the videos, do the research, to do these videos. So things obviously haven't been keeping up like they were before. I'd like to do another video, and I'm going to try and work on it. Is that something you'd like to see? Would you like to see me go over my collection again? You can see pretty much all of it here behind me, though my head gets in the way of a lot of the Star Wars stuff. Might even include some of the stuff I have, a little drawer in the bottom of the cabinet down here that has stuff that I've just yet to build. Things that I've collected over time for my own personal interest. Things that, like I have all the Legends models, but I stopped making videos on those because I don't think people were that interested. They've gotten to the point where they've discontinued them. I went ahead and got all of them because I wanted the collection. There's several older models that I never got to, and they're just older, and you know, they're older. Most people are interested in the newer stuff, so I never got to them. But yeah, if you're interested, I would like to try and go over this collection. I'll be honest, at this point, as many models as I have, I might forget some of the names of some of these models. Like, I think the last time I did it, some of the planes and tanks, I couldn't remember what they were. So I built them, and I just, you know, I'm not a big plane and tank person. I just kind of forgot. They're neat models to have in my collection, but I forget. I forget what I have back here. There's so much stuff, and this shelf is a borderline mess. So I want to organize it more, and I can get more on here and make more room. And there's, like, down here you can barely see the bottom of it. You can't see the top. There's Mega R2's way up top out of the screen. There's several buildings over here. There's more Star Wars up here, the iconic stuff. The Red Falcon's up here. You can't see it. You can't see R2-D2 because there's just such a tall shelf. Dragons and the Knight is over there, and merry-go-round and some butterflies, and there's just so much stuff. But yeah, certainly we'll try to find the time to go through this and show off how messy my shelf is, how I never finished organizing it. I printed some risers to make more room, but never finished because my 3D printers, I just only have so much time to monitor it, and it can't let it go too long on its own or it'll mess up. And I'm printing stuff for the Etsy store, and yeah, excuses. If that's something you're interested in, comment down below. Maybe it'll give me some motivation to squeeze that in sooner. Because it's not that I don't want to do it. I'm not going to, there's a lot to talk about. It's going to be a long video, so there's that. But it's not that I'm ignoring the requests. Time. If you're interested, leave in the comments down below. That's it for this week. As always, thank you for watching, and absolutely always thank you to my Patreon supporters for continuing to support this channel. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep on keeping on.